Hey there, good morning. I hope you're doing all right. Here we are. We are live, and it is, I think, 6:30 a.m. where I'm at in the world, and I want to bring you out somewhere a bit special this morning because it is Sunday morning. There's a slight cold wind, slight breeze blowing across the meadows and fields, but it is sunrise, and we're going to talk about health and fitness. Geese 88, good morning. I hope you're doing all right, and I hope you're doing okay where you're at in the world right now. I'm going to stand in front of the camera. I am not the only person up and about this morning, but there are not many people here in the forest, and we're speaking quietly because I don't want to disturb the wildlife too much. But as you can see, this is one of the favorite sites I have in the morning, and I thought it would be a great spot to actually have some fun and have a conversation about health and fitness in the middle of my walk. I've been walking for about an hour and 7 minutes, so I've been walking through the dark, not through the forest, because I do know that sometimes homeless people and other people sleep here, and it's an animal resting shelter, so you can't disturb them between sunset and sunrise. But we're here at sunrise, and when you enter the forest, when the sun comes up, you actually get this amazing view that you can see behind me. I can't see the chat, so I'll have to walk around the chat in a moment, just to around the camera in a moment, just to see what's up and what you're telling me. But hey, here we are, and isn't it wonderful? For those of you who are watching, my name's Toby. I am 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in a night. Last night was slightly short of 7, so that's still acceptable, but tonight hopefully I'll get about 7.5 to 8. And if I manage to get to bed early, didn't need a cup of coffee this morning, because who needs coffee when you have fresh air? I do that by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, although this weekend I am pretty sure I went over twice, but not overboard. But for me, that's about 21 to 2200 calories. And I try to eat a lot of vegetables because I think there's a lot of good nutrients in greens that we can enjoy and could do more with in our diet. And I try to eat about 100 to 150 grams of protein um, overall. So if on top of that, I try to show up every day to do my strength training, my strength conditioning training, my conditioning training, mobility training, try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, and generally try to live a stress-free life. So hey, if that's something you're interested in, then maybe this channel is for you. I'm just going to walk around to see if you said anything else on chat. Geese. Oh, that's cool. I hope the morning, or I guess evening workout in Texas is treating you well, and I'm glad we're spending this time together as we're working out and getting fitter and healthier together. This is about the way I feel, not about the way I look. So I would like to feel fit, capable, and competent, whatever life is going to throw at me. And life can throw a lot of things at us. Um, I think for me, if I look at the bigger picture of my health and fitness right now, I often talk about this, is it's about the bigger goals that I have for life. So it's not about the way I look, but when I look at my life and where I want it to be, I know that I'm going to get older. Life expectancy in my country, in the Netherlands, is about 86 right now, 85, 86. But we also spend a lot more time actually being sick, so we get a lot of extra years, but we get a lot of extra years in which we're sick and incapacitated. And that's not necessarily a good thing. Some of those discomforts and diseases that come later on in life can be prevented through lifestyle changes that we can make today. I'm 41, so I've got 40 years of lifestyle changes ahead of me that might increase the likelihood that I live a long and healthy and active and adventurous life. And that is what this channel and this conversation is about every day. The other goal is that I have two children who are growing up too fast. That's all I can say about that. Enjoying every moment of it, but there is a lot of activity, and with that activity, I would like to be actively involved, participate, play, whether that is on the ground or climbing in any of the trees that you might see around or anything like that, in the indoor playgrounds, the outdoor playgrounds where they're doing sports. I would like to be an active part of their life, not only now but also 10 years from now, because by my reckoning they're only going to get more active, and actually I was super active throughout my teenage years, so definitely worth considering and worth thinking about. On top of that, all right, I have one daily goal. So those are my long-term goals, right, for my life. And I want to be as active as I am today when I'm 85. And I want to be an active part, set a good example, be a good role model for my children on what an active, healthy adult can look like. I have one goal every day. And that one goal every day is to show up for 30 minutes and work out. Whether it's strength training, conditioning training, mobility, strength conditioning, anything, body weight, weights, kettlebells, doesn't really matter. As long as for 30 minutes during the day, I do a workout, and then I also try, on top of that 30 minutes, to be active throughout the day. Because there are a couple of problems that we face. Well, I don't know what that was. A toad, maybe? Something else. Hop by. The fantastic things you can see in the morning when you actually come out here. I'll stop ruining the view for you, maybe. And maybe I'll have to turn around the camera in a moment so you're not facing the sun as it rises too much. But what I want to say is we see several challenges, and some of those challenges are structural in society. It's got something to do with the way we organize our life. It's got something to do with the way we design the living spaces and the public spaces. It's got something to do with the food production system that we are all a part of. It's got something to do with the economic pressures and the economic realities that we all face. Another part of that is personal. Within that space, what is the agency I have? What are the things that I can afford, the things that I can do, things that I want to spend my time on, things that I want to dedicate my life to? And I always work out this early in the morning and get this 1.5 hour of walking now, or 30 to 60 minutes of training in, because that is the time when the family is still sleeping. So when they're awake, to the moment they're asleep, I can be a part of their life when we are together, right? So I try not to take too much time away from them when the opportunity arises for us to spend time together. So those are all considerations in society that we have today. There are things that are the way they are, and we can change them by the political choices we make, the voting we do, the public conversations we decide to have. And there are things that we can do in our private life, in our private circle, the choices we make, what time we go to bed, what time we wake up, what we do buy, don't buy, whether we spend time watching TV or whether we spend time in the kitchen preparing meals, those kinds of things. Anyway, overall, I think today is a good day to, talk about. There's really icy wind here, but overall today there's a good opportunity to just go through my wheel of life and to look at what the effects of having a system like that could be on how we approach certain challenges in life and the challenges that we are facing. And I appreciate the thumbs up. And if you have any questions for me, like I said, I'll walk around the camera once in a while to check what what the questions are that you have. But if there's nothing, then I'm just going to slightly press on, despite the slight chill this morning. My fingers start to turn blue. Let me know. So I always look at 4 quadrants, right? I look at my health, then I look at my relationships, then I look at my finances, and then I look at my pursuits. And there's an order to those as well. Let me walk you through the order. And this is a framework that I've developed for myself over time, over years. It's not necessarily a framework that's going to work for you, but it is one that has worked really well for me. And through that, maybe there's something in there for you. All right. So why do I start with health? Well, I start with health because it's the foundation of everything. If I am not healthy, then the only thing I'm generally focused on is getting back to health, right? If I'm sick, functioning, being a father, being an employee, being a partner, being a friend is hard because you don't have the energy, don't have the focus, don't have the attention. The most important thing at that point is simply to get healthy again so that we can get on with life. That's why I prioritize that one in the first place when I'm considering where I am in my life. The second thing is my relationships. When we talk about health and fitness, usually we talk about sleep, food, nutrition, but we forget about our social connections. So for me, when I talk about my life, when I reflect on my life, I think about me, my health, and then I think about my relationships and the health of the people that I'm connected to. Are they doing well? Have I connected with them? Do we have an ongoing conversation? Do we have a moment set that we're going to meet up, etc., etc. Yesterday, for example, we saw people that we care about deeply. We spent the entire afternoon with them, went out on a lake, on a boat for the afternoon with the kids. It was a great afternoon, great time together, just good time spent with people we love and care about. It was fantastic, and everyone left feeling recharged, and everyone slept really well. Right? From there, we go down to finances, and finances, I think, are a big cornerstone of modern life. Whether you like it or not, there is a big effect of how well we organize our personal finances, or how well we are able to organize our personal finances, because a lot of external factors also influence that ability in terms of the quality of life, and also statistically the quantity of life. Lifespan and health span are actually very much influenced by our finances and our financial predicament or good fortune. And then finally, when all of that is settled and looked at, I look at my pursuits. So the things that I enjoy, like making these videos, creating this content, telling these stories, and creative writing. Those are my 2 pursuits, the things that I do for me, for my pleasure, because I enjoy them, right? And I think we can all benefit from having, sorry, my fingers are really cold. We can all benefit from having how should I put that? A bit of a reflection structure for our life, to help guide, the decisions we make for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year, and for the decade. Because a decade can make a huge difference in life, whether we realize it or not. The things we decide to do when we're 18, 19, 20 will set us on a trajectory for where we might end up when we're 30. The good news is, if we are on an odd trajectory or one that we don't like, we can make some changes, and those changes might take 10 years to materialize, but we can always be steering towards where we want to end up 10 years later. In my experience, big life changes, generally anywhere between 6 and 9 years is a good lifespan and time span to consider. So over the course of one life, you as an adult probably get 6 major milestones, maybe 5, the final one being our undeniable and inescapable demise. But even then, there are people in their 70s and 80s and 90s doing amazing things, competing in meets, and living active, fantastic lives, creating works of arts, being great grandparents, writing their books and their life stories, up on stage acting, if they have all their skills and talents with them still. So there's no need to take a back seat to life in any of those decades. So let's start with health, right? When I talk about health, I talk about physical health. How's my physical health doing? Well, we're obviously aware of where we are in that space, right? My back's healing fine, but generally my physical health is in a good place and improving over time. How is my psychological health? How is my emotional health? So what are the kind of thoughts that I have throughout the day? Where am I at in terms of my outlook on life? Is it sunny? Is the half glass full, or the glass half full, the glass half empty? And do I experience a range of emotion? Because I don't think there's anything wrong with emotions in life and actually experiencing them. I think there is a challenge when we only experience one set of emotions, whether they are the negative or the positive ones. So overall, what's the balance between those factors? For some people, spirituality, spiritual health, their connection to the God or deity they believe in, or any other beliefs they hold, and the rituals that go along with that. Are they checking in with that? Are they doing well with that? It's not something that I personally do a lot of, but if that is a part of your life and your culture, then I would put that under health, as in a check-in whether you are in a place there where you are content and happy with, or if there's something that needs to be done about that. And then there is financial health. I always block financial health in with health at the top, because 2 reasons. From personal experience, I know that not having money or having stress about money has a detrimental impact on, for example, emotions and psychology, but also physical health. It is just a lot harder for me to live stress-free and make time to work out and do the fun things that I want to do when I have financial concerns. It's generally quite an all-consuming part of my day-to-day. The second thing is that generally we know that people with better socio-economic circumstances, okay, I don't know if you can see this in the distance, but this is why we love coming out here. So you can see there, you can't see, maybe they'll move, but there's a deer standing right there staring at me, right off from the little white patch there, and it just hopped into the forest. There it goes. There it goes. Can you see it? There it's walking. Yeah, there it goes. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? So there you have some of the reasons to want to be out here in the morning. So I lump financial health, and it's gone. I lump financial health in with all of, well, it's still there. I lump financial health in with health in general, because of those reasons. And it's worth looking into, right? It's worth just having this check on our financial health once in a while, as a regular part of our check-in. Are we healthy? Are we doing well? Are we thriving? And I have, over the course of my life, known ups and downs, and I've made some very rigorous decisions about my career and my life and my path in life, based on my financial situation. At the end of my 20s, I turned my life around, and now I'm 41. I'm very glad that I made that change 13 years ago, and have put myself in a position by good fortune. I got very lucky at the time, but even so, through good fortune and hard work, I seized the opportunity that I was given and created the life that I have today and that I'm able to provide for my family today. But that wasn't an easy decision. I left behind a lot of dreams and ambitions that I had developed in my 20s that I might get back to at one point in life. But there's also a lot more at stake in my 40s than in my 20s. So that's health, right? Then I look at relationships. I look at my wife and children, and I think about my parents and direct relatives, best friends. How are they doing? Do I check in with them? Are we in contact? When do we see each other? Hopefully at least every birthday that someone shares, we get invited or invite people over. Are we in regular contact? Do we text? Do we have plans to see each other? Are we making plans? Are we aware of what's going on with each other's lives? Are we on the phone? Do we do phone calls? And those kinds of things. Just maintaining those relationships, because they are sounding board and reflections on life, first of all. But second of all, they are also, they might also give us a sense of purpose. And if it's not the contribution to our children's life or our spouse's life or our friend's life, then maybe it is the communities that we're part of. So, for example, the community of my colleagues and work, right? There's a community there. The street that we live in, and the time we can spend together. These are people that we see every day. The deer is now somewhere across the meadow there, minding its own business and having a good morning as well. Then there is the community of my children's schools or sports clubs that they are a part of, or any other society that I might want to participate in. So do I have relationships and communities that I'm a part of? We all do, whether we're an active part of them or not, whether it's an active community, usually the street where we live in or the apartment building where we live in. Everyone's very much focused inwards and turned on themselves. But I think it's good to be connected to, for example, neighbors and have chats with them and have coffee or a drink with a couple of them once in a while, just to get a feel for what the sentiment is in the neighborhood and what's on everyone's mind and what everyone is up to and doing. All right. So health, relationships, finances. I break finances down into three parts. I'm not a financial advisor, nor am I a doctor or health advisor, right? But this is just the way I approach life. So finances is my income. Is there money coming in? Good. Is more money coming in that is going out? Better, right? Am I able to cover the living expenses that we incur? And given the current economic circumstances, I think it's very important to have that in balance and be aware of what is happening there. This is just key to a fulfilling and happy life. So that's one. Two, am I able to save a proportion of my income for the future? So I try to put at least 1/10 of my income away. That is not just savings on a savings account, right? There are different ways that I invest my money, or what I am capable of saving, so that I have a buffer for the future. I have at least 3 months of living expenses on hand, always, in terms of cash, and I've built that up over time, and that also changes over time, right? 15 years ago or 13 years ago, that was a very small amount. With the increased responsibilities I have in life, that has become a slightly larger amount, because a lot can happen in 3 months, right? Should I unfortunately, or be unfortunate enough to lose my job, or any other circumstance occurs that prevents me from working and earning money, then at least those 90 days we have to figure out what the plan is, right? And then there is savings and investments for the future, which we build up over time, which is the rest of the savings and other things that we might be working on. The last one is maybe not available for everyone yet, depending on where you're starting off and what your situation is. The first two merit focus, right? So what comes in, what comes out, and there are a lot of things that factor into that, like where you live, what the economic opportunities are, and also what the cost of living is where you are at, which is why we make very specific choices about where we live in relation to the income that we have and the opportunities that present themselves in the space where we live. And then from there, I look at my pursuits, things that I enjoy. Do I have time and energy to invest in them? And the nice thing is that right now, at this stage in my life, the answer is yes. I do have a lot of time and energy to invest in them, and I do have a lot of time and energy to create content, make videos. I get to live stream every day, talk about something that I'm interested in, my health and fitness, longevity. And we're actually creating a podcast in Dutch on that topic with some other people, which I'm very excited about, because there's, I think, a huge challenge in society at the moment related to health and fitness. And there's a lot of sense and nonsense available, and trying to make sense of the nonsense, I think, is a challenge, and being a part of that conversation, I think, can be very helpful and useful for society. And creative writing, sadly, I haven't been getting around to that as much as I would want to. It has been busy, can only invest my time once. But what I do is, like, I take little notes of story ideas that I would like to write one day, and I know that there will be a time again, probably when we are on a bit of a longer holiday in a couple of weeks, and also over summer, that I will have some hours to sit down. Every year I write something, and somewhat comes out. It's not published anywhere, it's just for my own pleasure and the development of the craft and skill that I enjoy. And that overall is just how I reflect on my life, and how I try to think about what matters to me, what's important to me, and what I want to put my focus on. If any of the areas in my reflection ends up being lacking or worrisome, I will take that into consideration, and then try to do something about that. So if I feel that I haven't seen friends for too long, I will pick up the phone and call them and say, hey, let's catch up, or let's set a date in the calendar, and at least we're making the effort to try and meet up. If I notice that my finances are a bit out of whack, I will look at my expenses and my incomes, and we will see what we need to change and make adjustments. It's not something you do once and then it should be working. Something that we should be mindful of every month, or at least every quarter, in terms of balancing the books and making sure that we are on track. And getting the momentum is hard, but once that works, and we have those habits, they serve us well in life. When it's my health, right, when I for example, from mid-December through mid-January, I was struggling, and then it was just a constant focus. I knew I was struggling, but it was a constant focus to come back to, okay, am I showing up for my 30 minutes of workout? Am I mindful of what I'm eating? Am I mindful of what I'm sleeping? And that mix was off balance. But by keeping focus on it, by mid-January, we hit a new stride for the year, and everything turned out to be just fine. So yeah, what can I say? That's how I look at life. Maybe that's helpful for you. I hope it is. Let me know in the chat, in the comments. And I'm very happy that we got to spend this time together. Usually I'm walking here alone. I don't wear headphones. I just listen to nature. Maybe you're picking up some of the sounds out here. And it's just a great way to start the day. And I've got a 30-minute walk back home that I'm going going to take soon. For those of you watching, let me just check if there were any questions or comments that I need to respond to. Dolanon 614, it's kind of cool. How did I turn my life around? Let me know if you're still listening. How did I turn my life around? I think that's a very fair question. I'll answer that one. I looked at it and I didn't like the direction it was going. I had tried to start a couple of companies and failed. I had debt, and I had never wanted to have a fixed job, and wanted to explore the world and do a lot of fun things. But it wasn't working out for me, so I made 3 major changes. First one, I got a steady job. Second, I relocated countries. So I left the environment that had more or less brought me to my knees, like had not given me the success that I wanted it. I got a fixed job with a fixed income rather than try to make my own income through entrepreneurship. And I very rigorously organized my finances around paying off my debts. Those 3 things took a couple of years, but by the end of that, I was out of debt, and I had crafted a very solid base for whatever I wanted to do next in life. And I think those were 3 years of my life well spent trying to improve upon my circumstances, and I had the skills and talents to be successful at the work that I chose to do. I knew that, but it was also nice to get that recognition and to work somewhere where my skills and abilities were appreciated and valued, and still are today. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy deciding to leave everything behind, deciding to pack everything up. I literally sold everything I owned because I couldn't afford to move anything anywhere or put anything in storage. This is all hard times, but I think leaving everything behind at that point was the best thing I could have done for myself, because I came back and came out of it a better, wiser, smarter, more stable person. And maybe we don't all need to leave everything behind because things are going well for us. But sometimes it's worthwhile to look into what we can shed and what we can stop doing, and what we need less of in life instead of more of. And it can be very difficult to change our social circumstances, our place of living, but it can also be good and helpful, from my experience. So I hope that answers your question. Hey, listen, for anyone else who's watching, my name's Toby, I'm 41 years old, and I train to live an active, self-sufficient, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours in the night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, 2,200 calories. I try to eat a lot of vegetables, and I try to eat sufficient proteins to support my muscle and strength and longevity goals. And there's a bit of discrepancy between how many proteins are ideal for both goals, so I need to reconcile that, and I'll let you know when I've done that over time. I show up for strength training, conditioning training, strength conditioning training, mobility. Today we're on a walk because I'm recovering from a back injury, but I think the walks are going to be a regular part of my routine, especially through summer, friends. And I try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, and generally try to live a stress-free life. If you're interested in that, you go ahead, check out my channel, check out my shorts, check out my long forms, and remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on. And the only way to get anything done, friends, is by showing up and doing the work. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care. Mel B, thanks for dropping by. Duh. Sometimes wishing a better place to do more but less. I agree with that 100%. And Doladon, I hope that answered your question. And Geese, I hope that stroll on the treadmill is going well. James Green, the back is doing fine. Thanks for asking, and I appreciate all of you dropping by. And I think we can all agree that Dawn is indeed awesome. All right, friends. That's it for today. Take care. Have a good day, and remember, subscribe. And let's just take a moment to enjoy this wonderful sunrise here. Bye-bye.